Welcome back, guys. In part 3, we're going to start using world composition to start building out our world. I've decided we're going to do a 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer map, and decided to start here on, I run a second project of this Let's Make an MMO demo project so that I can try stuff out in advance to make sure things work better than getting stuck in the middle of a stream. And so I thought I'd start out, show you guys where we're headed today. Don't know if we'll get all this done, but this is the direction we're headed, and hopefully we can end up with a project looking like this. Okay, let me shut this down. Okay, there is a file you're going to need to download here. It's Let's Make an MMO map tiles. It's got our map tiles in here. Normally, this is when we'd go jump into World Machine and generate our landscape, and then we'd export it out tile by tile. However, the World Machine's pretty expensive. The free version is not going to work for a map this large. And so what I've done is I have just created an empty, all black landscape, and I have copied it over and over, used the proper naming scheme that Unreal's looking for, and we're going to use that, and we'll just be using the landscape terrain editing tools in UE4, but normally this is where you would generate something in World Machine or a similar type of thing. I also have these two files here. These are going to be fun to get. They're part of the Kite demo assets, but the Kite demo apparently is not upgraded to 4.2 yet, so I wasn't able to add it to this project. I don't know. Anyway, I've thrown those in the zip file too. So grab this Let's Make an MMO map tiles zip. There's a link to it in the text, and grab that, download it, and have it ready because we're going to need it. I am actually going to extract these. I'm going to make a folder here. Map tile source. Drop them all in there, and let's open our project. It was fun trying to find a program that could save 16-bit grayscale PNGs. Apparently that's a super rare format, but it's the only format that Epic accepts. So let's start out here by making a new map. Hold on, just make sure I got the right. Yeah, apparently that was something I tried to do before. Anyway, we're going to create a new folder here called World Comp. We're going to open it up, and we're going to create a new map. Before I create this new map, I'm actually going to come over here. We want this post-process volume. So I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it, and we're going to paste it into our new map. So we'll come here, new level, and we're going to call this our world. And we're going to open it. And now I'm going to paste that in there. So we've got that, and one of the reasons I want this, I don't know if I showed this last time, but I do not like the auto exposure, where when you get in dark places it makes it really light. I don't like that, so make sure you got your post-process volume minimum 1, maximum 1. It'll turn off the auto exposure. So otherwise things look really bad. Okay. So close that. Okay, so we're going to need a few things here. It's annoying. We're going to need the sky sphere and the skylight and directional light. And for the directional light, I believe I found that I left it on 10. So I played around with a few different settings, but I ended up leaving it on 10. And we want to turn on a feature here, right here, this ratio trace distance field. So first we got to go here and set this to movable. We want this to be dynamic lighting. But this is not available because we have not modified our project to turn on distance fields, but we do want that. So let's go into project settings. Let's start typing distance, generate mesh distance fields. You want to check this. It is going to require a restart. So we're going to restart. This is going to let us use distance field ambient occlusion, which is awesome. And especially this setup that we're doing is especially good if you want to have a real day-night cycle. We're going all dynamic here. And we'll talk about some different lighting options. Okay, that was weird. Okay, world comp, our world. Okay, so let's open that back up. And now we can come back to this directional light, and we can turn on ray trace distance field shadows. Probably later we'll up this number and play around with it, but for now, I'm gonna accept the defaults. They're good enough to start. One thing I would go here, skylight, change this to movable, and we're gonna set this intensity to 2. One of the problems with this system is that shadows are too dark, meaning that you walk into a shadow and your character just goes completely black. Setting that to 2 seems to help, but a lot of these settings are stuff you're going to spend hours tweaking. I have spent hundreds of hours tweaking these in other projects, so you'll never stop. You'll constantly be tweaking them, but we're going to start out with just a good basic setup. Let's set up this directional light. You know, I like to call the directional light. I often don't rename things, but I like to rename this one the sun. We'll go in here and pick the sun. There we go. Okay. It's time for us to turn on another setting. Let's see. World settings. Enable world composition. And that got us this new world composition here and this import tiled landscape that we want. But there's actually one other thing I want to turn on, because otherwise we're going to forget later. At this time we're going to editor preferences, not project, and it's, let's see, landscape, grass, procedural foliage. Turn that on. Okay. So let's do the import. Import tiled landscape. We're going to select those files. Up. You know what? Let's not do this yet. See, it's going to ask for this material, and it's not super easy to change later. It's really messed up, and you actually have to change it per every tile. We have 400 tiles at our project, so it's not fun when you have to change it, but even 9's not great. So let's go and let's just create a temporary material. Folder materials. And we're going to create a material called m_landscape. And it can just be something really simple. Texture sampler. Call this grass. We're going to come back and change this later. Call this grass base color. Okay, let's pull it over here. And we're going to call this grass base color texture. This was a texture sample parameter 2D. And connect that and doesn't really matter what it is right now. Just want to make sure that we have this placeholder so we don't have to end up changing all 9 of them later. So we go back to here, import tiled landscape. It's now going to let us pick this M landscape, and we're going to pick our tiles. This is where we go back to map tile source, list view. Grabbing those. Okay, the defaults are good on this one. Each one is 1017. For some reason it likes that number. And the scaling is what we want. They're basically going to end up close to 1 kilometer per tile, and we got 9 of them, so it'll be a 3x3. Let's import. It should have put those, yep. So I put those down here, and those are now available in these sublevels. So we've got our levels here open. If you don't have that open, go here and open it, levels, and I like to dock it up here next to the world outliner. So we can grab all of these. I'm holding down shift, selecting them, right click, and we're going to load them all. I probably need to move a little bit faster. And we now have our tiles loaded. And as you can see, how there's different tiles you can turn on and off. And these are going to actually stream in and out for us. And later we're going to convert them to static meshes so that in the distance they're going to be super fast. So that's where we're going to start here. So let's, yeah, I know the texture looks terrible, but we will fix that. Save these. Okay, so we've got our landscape here. Let's just go and give it a little bit of shaping just to get started. So I probably want to go pretty big here. I don't know, 10,000. That's probably too big. Oh wait, it didn't take what I wanted. There we go, 10,000 is probably about right. And we'll just start. I'm going to kind of just bring it up around the sides here. Kind of make a natural barrier around the sides. I'll show you later how we can add some more detail, and you know what, we need to go bigger than this. It's annoying. And we need to be faster. There we go. We'll just go around here, just using the left mouse button to kind of sculpt up these edges, kind of create a natural barrier. Building this out here, and I'll show you in a second some of the other fun tools we can use to get a little bit more detail. Okay, that doesn't look terrible. Let's go here, and I want to create a certain spot somewhere near the middle here where there's kind of like a passageway, a natural gate, so that we can use it later to create a portal between two. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have like this be one zone and this be a zone, and then we'll have a city be a zone. Maybe do a three zone setup here. Okay, there's another fun tool here called noise. And what this lets you do, as you see, it can add some detail. But we gotta cut down on the strength for this one. Otherwise it does too much at once. can help us to add some detail here real quick. We can kind of quickly get something going here. Doesn't look great, but you can have fun. You can spend hours making your version look good. Just gotta do something quick here. And another tool that I really like, I'll show you here real quick, because I really like this erosion tool. And I'm just gonna make it smaller. But it basically lets you come in here. Huh. Strange. Let's try switching back. Let's see what we did. Tool strength, go back to this. I'm not sure why I decided to do that. There we go. So anyway, this tool can come in here. Yeah, we probably need something bigger than that. And you can kind of erode stuff away and kind of get some cliff-like stuff going. And it looks weird right now, but when we come back in with our smooth tool, we can come back in here, smooth it all out. It's a way to kind of, anyway, you can play around with it, and you can kind of get some cliffs cut into it. For now, that's probably going to work. Once we get some texture on there and everything, probably going to work pretty good. Okay, we need to set our starting location. Let's here's probably as good as any. So I usually drag out an empty actor. Make sure it's above, just above. And then we're going to go and we're going to open our third-person game mode. Remember last time I showed that you could use this spot in the game in the debug start location. So we can basically go here and set where we're going to start, and we'll be able to load out on this map. So I got our start location saved there. If we didn't from last time when we turned this off, let's turn this run dedicated server back on, and we'll save everything. Okay, let's see what we did wrong here. So, post-process volume, we've got all that set up. We can dump this actor. So we did not set the game mode. So come in here to world settings while you have this open, and make sure you set it to the third-person game mode, or it's not going to load our characters and all of our setup. And let's do that. And there we go. Here we are now on our map, and 3 kilometers is pretty big. It's pretty big. You can see all the way from there, all the way to way over there. Actually, some of those may not be streaming in yet. Later we'll go see how we can adjust the streaming distance. I feel like we're going to see it pop in here in a second. By the way, I'm holding down Shift. The OWS has a sprint ability. Yeah, see how they're loading in there? And then they're unloading over there. So we'll play around with those streaming distances, and we will play around with converting ones in the distance to static meshes. This is the way that you're able to run 400 tiles like we do at 100 plus frames per second on a computer built in 2010. So the static mesh is definitely the secret. Each one of these tiles has 1 million plus vertices. And when you convert it to a static mesh, you often bring it down to about 2,000 vertices. So a million to 2,000, and then multiply that over, a large percentage of 400 tiles, and it's a big amount. So I'm actually going to stop part 3 here a little early, and here's the reason why. I did not load, I wanted to load in the Paragon static mesh assets, and I forgot to load it into this project before I started. It probably wouldn't take too long to add them, but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do that. So I'm going to stop part 3, and then I'll get everything downloaded for part 4. So this is a good spot for you to pause and catch up to where we're at here. And next thing we're going to take a look at is we're going to set up our landscape material. We're going to set up our procedural grass, and we're going to add some trees and rocks. So until next time, see ya.